Hello everybody, 6 o'clock here, Eastern Time. This is Kaye, and we'll be starting in just a minute or two. If you want to test your audio, now's a good time to see if you can hear me. If in fact you cannot, and I'm actually going to repeat this again, if you have trouble hearing, please do hit the telephone checkbox in your control panel and call in instead. And you have a couple of minutes to do that. Actually, this is a repeat of a webinar that I did. It's live, don't worry, but it's a repeat of a webinar that we did here at 3 o'clock, 3 hours ago. And I was a little overzealous and started 2 minutes early. And the result was that about 15 people missed the first 2 minutes, and I think they were a little upset. So I am going to wait another minute or two. But I do thank you for attending. And if it's 6 o'clock for you because you're on the East Coast, then I hope your stomach isn't grumbling because you're hungry. You know, feel free. You'll see the chat panel, and that's the place where the chat bar, I should say, and that's the place where you should please type in any questions. You are all muted, so I can't hear you, but I can certainly read what you're saying, and so I invite you to type in your questions if you have anything you'd like to say up front. I'll stop for questions every so often, and then at the end of our 45 minutes together, we'll have time for any remaining questions that you have. Oh, I'm sorry, the question box, not the chat panel. I have my stellar tech support team. Hello, it's me live, and I wanted to say hello before I disappear and the slides take over. So I have with me David Schwartz. You want to step into the camera and say hello? Hello, David. And David is the person you'll likely be speaking to if you ever need tech support about Alef, or Kol Yisrael. He's also an expert in curriculum. And so that's David. In the other room, out that window, beyond there, is Andy Shannon, who is our digital services manager. So I'm thinking, can we start? Andy was waving. So maybe just a quick to give you the heads up about what we're going to be doing today. We have 45 minutes together, and in that time I'm going to be presenting to you an overview of Alef, and Kol Yisrael. We will not be dealing with specific teaching techniques because that there just isn't time in the 45 minutes, and I can always work with you individually. We have lots of resources for that. So again, this is an overview, and it'll be general terms what Alef, and Kol Yisrael is about. Again, for those of you who've just joined us, you are in muted mode, and if you have questions, please type it into the question panel on the side, that little box, and I will address them during the course of the webinar. If you have trouble hearing, click on the little telephone checkbox and call in instead. And then the last little bit of tech support information is that we are recording this webinar, and it will go up on the Behrman House website in the next couple of days. I also wanted to let you know that if you would like, we had a number of people who requested it after the previous webinar. They asked me to send them the PowerPoint personally, and that's absolutely fine. At the end, you'll see on the last slide, I give you my contact information. So just write to me and tell me that if you want the PowerPoint, if you find it useful. Some people had suggested they might like to show it to their board because they were considering adopting the series, so that would be absolutely fine. Okay, cool. We are going to start. So, Welcome again to how to use Alef Quest and Kol Yisrael, and thank you to all of you for being here and for giving us your very valuable time. We do appreciate it. Let me tell you briefly what we're going to do. This is our agenda for the next 45 minutes, and we're going to go along moving crisply and briskly and get it all done. First, an overview of ABQ and KY, as it's affectionately known here. Secondly, the benefits. Number 3, we'll talk about how to integrate the book and the digital companion. Number 4, teaching tools. Then how to assess students' progress online. And lastly, we'll talk about a question that arises quite frequently. What are the differences between Kol Yisrael and Hineni? Why would I use one or the other? And then we'll end with your questions. So, first thing we want to do is I want to ask Andy if he will put up our first poll question so we can learn a little bit about you. And if you could please click on the job title that is closest to what you do. Okay, so far 25% have responded, 50%. When we get closer to 8, we're at 81. And Andy, if you think that's everybody, if you could display the results, that would be really cool. Oh, this is most interesting. So 69% of your education directors, 31% are Hebrew teachers, and that covers the entire group. Very interesting. Thank you for that. Now we have poll question number 2. And Andy will put that one up, and this is for us to learn, for all of us to learn, if you are currently using Alef Quest or Kol Yisrael, or you're in fact here to learn more about the program. Please do enter your answers. We're at 76% who have responded. Okay, that's 82%. So Andy, if you want to put up the result. And 50% of you are here to learn more. None of you are using Alef Quest. 14% Kol Yisrael, 36%. Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. I read that wrong. So 36% of you are using Alef Quest and Kol Yisrael. Very interesting information. Thank you for sharing that with us. So let's now go quickly to an overview of Alef Quest and Kol Yisrael. This is the fastest growing Hebrew series in North America. Currently it consists of 4 levels. We have a primer, that's Alef Quest, the yellow book, if most widely used in 3rd grade, followed by a 3-year prayer primer, Kol Yisrael, in grades 4 to 6. We had actually considered that the series is complete, and then we had numerous requests for a pre-primer, for something to precede Alef Quest. So we are bringing out a book called Ready, Set, Go Alef Bet, a pre-primer coming in January 2012, and that will be most widely used in 2nd grade. All levels, including the new pre-primer coming, consist of a book and a digital companion. Currently, the digital companion is in CD format, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So these are the first Hebrew learning materials to fully integrate book-based lessons with online learning. And please don't hesitate to type in any questions, and I will address them in a little bit. So what exactly are the goals of Alef Quest? The yellow book, the primer. Students will learn to decode fluently and accurately. They will acquire 42 cultural and modern Hebrew words such as shamash, bracha, tzedakah, Torah, talit, and some modern Hebrew words too, like Abba, Ima, Geshem, Shemesh, and so on. They will learn to write Hebrew in print or script. Now the Alef Quest itself teaches only block print writing. However, we also have available a separate script writing workbook that not only teaches script but also reinforces the decoding skills that they're learning in Alef Quest. And in fact, we have as well a companion reader that teaches some modern Hebrew, so it's quite delicious, if I may say. In addition, one of the goals of Alef Quest is that students will develop a connection to Israel through the online digital Israel trip. So in the digital app, in the digital companion, they go on a virtual tour through Israel, stopping at all the main places. It's quite adorable. The goals of Kol Yisrael. 1. Prayer literacy, and by that we mean familiarity with Siddur concepts and fluent and accurate prayer recitation. Second, we want students to make connections between prayer and Jewish values. Key in Kol Yisrael is to make prayer relevant to students. So throughout we're asking, what is your opinion? What do you do? How do you feel when you wake up first thing in the morning? You know, are you looking forward to school? Do you feel happy? And that's in the chapter on teaching the Modeh Ani. So at every possible opportunity we ask the students to make their own meaning of the prayer. We, as you can judge by the title, Kol Yisrael, we are very interested in helping students engage in community. Of course, to prepare them for Bar and Bat Mitzvah. And Kol Yisrael includes some modern Hebrew for motivation. So, for example, when we're teaching Yotzer Or and Ma'ariv Aravim, we include cute little activities using Boker Tov and Erev Tov and other useful sayings. Above all, the goal is prayer literacy. Okay, I'm looking to see if there are any questions yet. Not as yet. Please do feel free to include your questions. So what are the benefits of using Alef Quest and Kol Yisrael? Let's talk about the students first. Students, this is absolutely key, students get more practice at home with a digital companion. They are motivated to interact with Hebrew. And what's really cool when you watch it in action is that they're able to self-check and self-correct. And they do that by listening to the voice who's reading, and they can read with the voice, they can read themselves and have the voice correct them. And in fact, they can choose whether they want to hear an Israeli or an American accent. So it's almost like having an automatic in-home tutor. And of course the activities, the digital activities, will correct them as well. By using the digital companion at home, they are expanding their learning time, and very important, they can easily and quickly catch up if they've been absent. Parents benefit by gaining an insight into what their children are learning. Parents can see their children motivated and engaged in learning Hebrew, and it's quite fun to see that parents can actually learn a bit of Hebrew themselves. What are the benefits for teachers? They have ready-made homework. I mean, I use homework in quotation marks because it's work, it's play, it's really more video play and animation and online activities that kids want to do. Teachers can easily assess their students' progress online, and the digital companion accommodates students of different abilities and different levels of motivation. For example, if a student feels uncomfortable reading in public, in front of the group in class, he or she can practice at home over and over as many times as they want until they perfect the decoding or the prayer activity. How do those of you who are education directors benefit? You are able to demonstrate that your school offers the latest technology tools. You get to build a strong Hebrew program with motivated teachers and engaged students. They absolutely love doing the video games. And what we've seen that's quite interesting is that some schools who are adopting the series are now offering an extra day of Hebrew off-site. If they're not offering an extra day, some of them are, instead of where they used to have 2 days of Hebrew in school, they're now offering 1 day in school and the option to do the other day at home. And having these digital tools gives you the option to do just that. I thought this is not directly related to our ABQ and KY, but I thought you'd find it interesting. Towards the end of last year, Behrman House hired an independent market research company to do research into the needs of Jewish families. What do they need as far as Jewish information, learning, gaining knowledge, and in what forms do they want that information? What the survey has revealed is that nearly 90% of Jewish families have high-speed internet access at home. I guess that's not a surprise. Nor is it a surprise that 99% of their children have access to at least a shared computer at home. 70% of families use the internet as an educational resource very often. None of that is all that surprising, but the following fact is, well under half of the children enrolled in Jewish supplementary schools have access to technology tools there. So, in fact, it's well under half. By our count, about 37% of children in Jewish supplementary schools, we're not talking about day schools, use technology there. And the interesting thing is that students are accustomed to digital learning tools. That's their life. If their Jewish educational experience fails to provide these tools, it will become marginalized. So using the Kol Yisrael series is one way to bring the school and the home into alignment. An added benefit. Okay, let's move on to how to integrate the book and digital companion. Sorry, I just want to see the first of our questions that are coming in, and I will stop after, you know what, after I've addressed item number 3, I will address these questions. All right, so how do we integrate the book and digital companion? Can you just click on my screen? Thanks. When we use the book and digital companion for the first time, the education director does the following. Calls up Behrman House and says, "Hi Behrman House, I would like to order 12 copies of, let's say, Alef Quest, and we assign you 1 serial number for that class. 12 children we know can use the serial number, and we send that to you, the education director. The education director passes the serial number on to the teacher. The teacher writes the serial number on the CD cover that's in the back of the book, gives the students a demo how to use it, and here, this is key, keeps the book in school but sends the CDs home, simply so the kids can have more practice at home. Keeps a record of the usernames and passwords, and you'll see why in a little bit, and then uses the serial number to assess students' progress online. And I will show you that in a bit. How do I get rid of these black lines? It's irritating. What does the student do? The student takes the CD home and puts it in the computer. And now I'm going to demo how we do that. So let me show you what happens. Let's go to Alef Quest. Okay, I've put the CD in my computer, I've seen a little startup play, and now it's asking me, am I a regular user or am I a new member? I'm a new member. So I'm going to sign up, and my username is Mary X Jones. I'm just making up some sort of a crazy name. My password is Jones, and I confirm my password, it is Jones. What's my first name? It's Mary. Jones, and my serial number, and this is actually a serial number of a real class that I'm going to put in, and so I want to show you how we're going to track it later. Okay, 8383. Okay, and while this is processing, I'm going to click away, and I'm going to come back. Okay, so the username is already taken. That is just crazy. Mary X Jones, I just don't believe it. So you know what, that's how it works. It'll tell me to continue. Let me just try and see what happens. Okay, let me try Mary Z Jones and see what happens. Okay, so there was no one else using it, and now I'm going to sign on. It's going to ask me to enter your username and password. My username is Mary Z Jones. My password is Jones, and I'm signing on. It's letting me log in, and now what it's doing is it's looking to see if I've done any work before, and it's uploading all the work I've done, which is currently none. But if I were a student and I had done work, it was uploading all my work to the Behrman House database, so that when the teacher tracks the student's progress, he or she will see all the work that is done. You can't hear the sound, but believe me, there is sound because you can't hear it through my computer. I just wanted to show you a teeny bit of Alef Quest. So what you're seeing here is the virtual trip through Israel, and here the children are going to visit Eilat, and they arrive in a little bus, and they start learning the first letter, and again, you haven't heard the audio, but it's there, and so on. They get to practice their reading and all that. So I'm going to cut away from that now, and I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint. So that's how the student logs on. Now, how does it work to integrate, yes, okay, I will just stop for questions after this. How does it work to integrate the book and the digital companion? As we've discussed, the book stays in class, the disc goes home. It absolutely is possible, and many schools do use, the students do use the digital program in school. We just highly recommend that you use it at home, as it so dramatically expands your time, your learning time. All right, at the end of each chapter in Alef Quest and Kol Yisrael, there's always a little clue. It's called Clue to the Quest, Clue to Cyberspace. Students solve this little puzzle. Here it involves some decoding. They have to add up how many words they circled with a V sound. I think the answer is 10. And then the teacher assigns that work and says, okay guys, you've just done lesson 11 in your book in Alef Quest, go home and I want you to play all the games in the 11th level on your CD. And so she assigns it, and the students do the online activities at home, and they score bonus points in the online games based on the answer they got here. And this is one way the book and the digital app are integrated. So they're having a good time at home. Meanwhile, the teacher goes online, which I'm going to show you next, and assesses their progress to see how they're doing, and integrates the digital activities into the next class. How? For example, the teacher might say, okay, everyone, when you're using your digital companion at home, I want you to look very carefully and tell me next time, what did Ben and Batya eat when they were in the cafe in Haifa? The answer happens to be falafel. Or the teacher might say, all right, everybody, I want to see who can score more than 100 points in Batya's vert skate game. And then at the next lesson, the teacher, of course, integrates that and finds out the answers. By the way, what I'm saying here, all in the teacher's guide. So the teacher's guide gives you very specific examples, techniques for doing, for using the book and the digital app. I think I'm going to stop for a few questions as we start talking about hints for success using the digital companion. Judy asks, aren't these all attributes of Shalom Uvracha Hineni 2? How do these two series differ? Judy, we're going to talk, our last discussion, part of the discussion will be a comparison, so I'll answer your question then. Rachel asks, do you have a printed set of instructions to walk parents through signing up and getting access to the digital component? Yes, we have a variety of instructions, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. We have, for example, a letter to send home to parents. We also have an easy user guide. We have an online video demo that you can use when you do a demo for parents. We have everything already prepared for you. Raphael asks, in what language does the CD speak? I love that. The CD speaks in English, but of course the Hebrew is read in Hebrew with an Israeli or an American accent. Kids get to choose. Raphael also asks, do you stop using Nikud at some point? No, we continue using Nikud throughout Alef Quest and Kol Yisrael. And the last question, then we're going to move on. If book is at school, do you have suggestions for how to use the clue quest at home? Absolutely, all included in the teacher's guide. Okay. So, now that the series is underway and all three books of Kol Yisrael are out, we learn a lot from tech support that we offer you, questions that you write to us, doing workshops and being in the classroom and watching you in action. So I thought I'd give you a couple of hints for success, especially for the digital companion, because frankly using the book we're all pretty much used to. We know how to teach in whole groups and in small groups and individual or one-on-one with tutors, and again the teacher's guide gives all that information. We know how important it is to differentiate instruction and to meet the needs of all learners, but we don't always know how to use the technology as fluently as we do the other help methods. So the number one hint for success is that it needs education director buy-in and commitment. If the education director is ambivalent or hopes that the teachers will just pick it up and go with it, or prays that the students will just love it and that'll make it happen, that ain't going to happen. Once you decide to go with Alef Quest and Kol Yisrael, you are saying, I am committed to using technology in my school. And then the next thing is it needs the teacher buy-in, because the teacher is the one who's actually going to make it happen. So we found that it's really helpful when the education director shows teachers and students just how much fun it is, does a demo, and helps to overcome teacher resistance, which is really often a stumbling block. Teachers have to feel comfortable before they will assign it consistently. It helps. It doesn't hurt to have parent buy-in, and a really sort of an easy way to do that is at the beginning of the school year, invite parents in and do a demo for them at back to school night. You can use a smartboard if you have one, or easily a laptop and projector. And if you don't know what to demo, again I'm going to show you the resources where you could literally just click play for the demo we've already created. Another tip for success is, well, let's see, yeah, students will love it, but taking them into the computer lab and showing them how to sign on and to use it will help just facilitate the process. Throughout the year, keep parents updated. Send letters home to them. We offer you on our website, I'll again show that to you in a minute, the letter you can send home at the beginning of the year with instructions. And finally, show all constituents that it is important and actually make them accountable. How do you do that? You require, if you're an education director, require that your teachers assign online activities regularly. Require that your teachers track the students online regularly. If you're the teacher, incorporate it into the class, meet with your education director regularly, and make your students accountable too. Be consistent throughout the year, and the teacher's guide will show you how to do that. Okay, moving along to the teaching tools. Again, because this is just an overview, I'm going to give you a brief, very brief introduction of what's available to help you use the series. First, I absolutely must tell you that it's so simple that any teacher can use it. There's no special teacher training required. You don't need anybody to do a week-long teacher training. It's simple. There are detailed teacher's guides for every level. They're actually teacher's editions, which means that they replicate the pupil page in small, small, and then show the teacher. It's annotated with techniques for using every page in the pupil edition. And the teacher's guide gives very specific techniques for using the CDs as well. Then, this is what I've been referring to all along. There are a bunch of free online resources. So you go to behrmanhouse.com, and I just picked two. Let me show you what's for ABQ, Alef Quest-resources. So on this page that is always available, always free, you can find the easy user guide that shows you how to use the CD. We have reading research if you're interested into the methodology and the research behind the creation of Alef Quest. Here's a letter to parents. I'm not going to open it now, but you can personalize it for your school since it's in a Word document. And this is probably the most useful thing on this page, how to use Alef Quest. It's a video. It's under 9 minutes long, and it's broken into segments, so you can actually use that to demo to your staff, to parents, to kids, how to use it. This is another webinar we did, FAQs, and so on. In addition, for every level of Kol Yisrael, we offer resources for those books as well. Here we list all the prayers, the big ideas and essential questions. We offer you a chapter overview so that you can email home to parents what you're covering each week. Here's the letter to parents for Kol Yisrael 3. Here's the video, again under 9 minutes, that shows you how to use Kol Yisrael. We have review sheets and answer keys, and so on. So those are the resources. We have a question here. I'm going to stop for a moment. How much technology in the classroom makes for the best success? I think I'm going to try to understand what Sue is asking. How much technology in the classroom makes for the best success? We know schools who are using the program with zero technology in the classroom, zero, because the kids are taking it home. We know of others who have a laptop and projector, which is always useful, because sometimes it's just fun to do a couple of the activities with the kids, and certainly at the beginning of the year to demo it or to play one of the online games together. Then you just hook up your computer to the projector and show it. Some schools have smart boards, and all the Alef Quest and Kol Yisrael programs are usable or work very, very effectively on smart boards because they are created in a program called Flash, which is what works on smart boards. So the answer, Sue, is that none or a ton. And I hope that answers your question. Anything you want to add, David? Yeah, it does. David responds that it depends on how much time you have, because if you have limited time in school, you really want to focus on having on the interaction and the discussion and the small group work and or the dramatic readings and that stuff, and have the kids do the digital app at home to increase your class time. So, how do we assess students' progress online? There are 3 ways. The first is the most powerful, and the kids are very impressed by it because it's like Big Brother is watching. You go to the Behrman House website, behrmanhouse.com, and that's what our site currently looks like, although I want to tell you we are redesigning it in the next month or 2. It will look nothing like this, but we will still make it easy for you to find this button where you will assessment. And here you see all the Behrman House digital products. But we're right now fooling around with Alef Quest, and we entered ourselves as a user there. And so we want to check and see how our students are doing in Alef Quest. So, okay, now we're the teacher, right? So we click on Alef Quest, and it's going to ask us to enter our serial number. So we're going to enter the serial number for our class in a moment. And what did I use? Big 8383. Okay, this is enormously frustrating, especially for you. And if this doesn't load in about another minute, I'm going to click away and go in another way. In fact, that's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, so when this loads, what you're going to see is your students' progress that they have worked on during the week or whenever they last went online. Okay, I'm going to go out and go in another way. Go to Behrman House this way, and let's see if this works. Go to assessment. Aha, there it worked instantaneously, which is the way it usually does. So it asks us to enter a serial number. So remember the Mary Z. Jones that we entered earlier? The serial number of which she was a part of the class is B, E, G, 8383. So now I'm the teacher, and I want to see how those 12 or 13 or 15 students in my class are doing. And while it's searching for this, again, this is slower than usual, but while it's searching, I'll tell you briefly about the two other ways that you can check that your students are doing the work. This is the first, where you go online to track, and the second is that students email you their results, and the third is that they simply print out their results page. So here we have the class of which Mary Z. Jones is a part. This is an actual class, and so here we see Mary, and actually there's the Mary X Jones, she came in. Mary Z. Jones, but she's done no work, so she's got all zeros. So let's take someone else. Let's take Abby. This again is a real class. I have no idea where it is or who it is. So Abby has completed in Alef Quest, she's gone all the way through the whole, she has done the whole digital program. And actually that's sort of wonderful to see, because what we sometimes see is that the use drops off around here, around lesson 10 or 11, and what we realize is that the teacher has probably stopped assigning it. But in this case we have a conscientious teacher and a conscientious student, and the teacher can track lesson by lesson how Abby is doing. So what you see in a case like this is that Abby has tried this particular activity twice, and she reached 100, because the computer always remembers your highest score. Here she stopped at 67%. So that's how you track online. And let me quickly go back to our PowerPoint. And so that's the first way you track. The second is the student emails the teacher. There's a little email box here, and the student can directly email the teacher, who can create a new email address if he or she likes. The student can also print out this page and simply bring it into class. We have a question from Judy, who says, we often have students that switch classes during the year. How do you then track your student who has a different serial number than the rest of your class? You just call us and we can make the adjustment for you. We can assign that student who has switched classes to the other class. Okay, what are the differences between Kol Yisrael and Hineni? And after this, we're going to conclude with your questions. So this is a question we're often asked. And I realize that in the previous webinar, somebody had asked, what's the difference between Shalom Uvracha and Kol Yisrael? And one of the key differences between that Shalom Uvracha and Alef Quest and Hineni and Kol Yisrael is that in the older series, the CD is an add-on, whereas in ABQ and KY, it's fully integrated. So that's a key difference. In Kol Yisrael and Hineni, both, what they have in common, they both teach prayer literacy. What they have in common, they cover very similar prayers. Where they begin to differ is that Hineni teaches more grammar. The grammar is more structured and more formal and presented in something called prayer building blocks. In Kol Yisrael, the grammar is not taught formally. However, the students learn it by using it. So that's a key difference. In Kol Yisrael, as we said, the book and digital companion are fully integrated. When you buy into the series, you are saying, I am using the technology. Kol Yisrael offers the latest technology. For example, the readings in American or Israeli accents, the ability to email your students, and so on. I'm sorry, to email your teacher your results. Kol Yisrael includes complete prayers. So in Hineni, some of the prayers are slightly truncated and are available in full in the workbooks. In Kol Yisrael, they are complete. Also, Kol Yisrael, I just want to tell you, follows the liturgy of Mishkan Tfilah, although of course we offer the conservative variations as well, and use these as actually teaching opportunities to show how the different congregations use different liturgy. Kol Yisrael has some modern Hebrew, a little bit, whereas Hineni has none, and Kol Yisrael is more playful in that it has these cute little characters, Ben and Batya, that follow students throughout the series and appear in the digital companion. Now we're actually 2 minutes to the end of our webinar, so let's just for the last 2 minutes respond to your questions. And I want to cut away to my video so you can see me. Hello. The air conditioning has gone off in the office because it's now 7:15. David, would you mind opening the window? Sorry. Thanks. So Rachel asks, is it possible for the director to have access to student progress online, or is it something only the teachers can have? Anybody, any of you can have it. If you, the education director can certainly go on, you know the serial number, you can see how the students are doing, the teacher can go on and look, you can look anywhere on any computer, you can be at home, you can be at the school, you can be on your laptop, wherever you are, you have access to it. So I hope that answers your question, Rachel. Rachel also says, I found the Kol Yisrael book great for our students because it has the syllable drills before the whole prayer. Kol Yisrael doesn't have this component. Do you have any supplementary material like this for the later books? Wow, that's an interesting idea. That was a conscious decision in Kol Yisrael 1 because we knew that students had just completed the primer the previous year and would need some refreshing at the start of the new school year. We did not build that into Kol Yisrael 2 directly. But you've given me an idea for something that we might be able to provide you. So it sounds as if you need more Hebrew reading drills. In addition, and I'm wondering if you mean in addition to the online companion, but it sounds as if you do, Rachel, so feel free to add to that if you want. Nothing else in print right now, although it's certainly given us the idea that this might be something that we should create a wonderful additional resource. So thank you for that. I think we have no more questions, so I do believe that you get to go home 2 minutes early. Oh, wait, one last one from Rachel. What stops kids from looking? By the way, since I really, you're entitled to leave at 7:15 Eastern time, so I'll stay absolutely to answer these and any other questions. I do just want to say, if you are leaving now, that my email is on the screen, is on your screen. Please feel free to contact me directly, terry@bhconsultinggroup.com. That's my direct number, so you can call me directly, and we can help you personalize the training for your school. So while you are taking down that information, I am going to respond to Rachel's question. What stops kids from looking at other students' progress online? Nothing. Nothing. Yet, because if students knew how, they don't know. In tens of thousands of kids who have used our digital software, not once ever have we heard of a student going to the Behrman House website to check the progress. They just don't. Are the letters introduced in the same order in Alef, Bet, Question, and Shalom Uvracha? They are not. They are based on keywords, and it's not the same as Shalom Uvracha, and so I'm just going to have to answer no without elaborating. Rachel asks, yes, in addition to the syllable. Okay, so you want more practice with the syllable breakdown. Judy asks, are the prayers introduced in the same groupings between Hineni and Kol Yisrael, so switching between series is easier? Similar, but not exact. And if you go, you remember I showed you those resources, you can see all the prayers listed there, the prayers in Hineni 1 and the prayers in Kol Yisrael 1 and so on. So, or you can email me and I'll be happy, very happy to send you a comparison chart. And Lee says, Terry, we are using both series but haven't used the online assessment to date. Maybe we will try that now. Thanks. Oh, thanks, Lee. That makes me really happy. So I'm so glad. And Rachel says, that's awesome. So I am going to, oh, and Andy says, Terry, we're also going to address the issue of kids being able to view each other's progress in the new version of our website launching in a few months. He's absolutely right. Kids won't be able to do that when we switch over to our new exciting digital online environment that I'll tell you about another time, and then the security will be much greater. Rafael said, you said the teacher's guide is for everyone, not just for teachers. Well, actually, the teacher's guide is just for teachers. I'm sorry if I misspoke. Forgive me for that. And so, everybody, I will stay another few minutes to answer your questions, but for the rest of you who have to leave, good night. Thanks for joining us. Again, this will be live on our website in the next few days in the same place where I showed you those resources. Otherwise, email me if you'd like a copy of this PowerPoint. David Schwartz or I will be happy to send it to you. And we will, you might want to use it for your board to show other interested parties. So we look forward to being in touch with you soon. And I'm going to, Andy, if you could just keep the webinar on for going for another minute or so. And some of you are saying thank you. Our pleasure, our absolute pleasure. And if there are no other questions, I will say cheerio. And Andy, you can shut us down. Goodbye. Talk to you soon.